when the time for death, comes, some of the early signs, the process of dying has started, is when the five senses and the five sensory objects begin to dissolve into one another, or ceases to function. For example, when we are about the process of dying, is that even though you have your eyes fail to see others. You cannot see. Even though some people are about to die, and even though you are nearby them, they say, "Where are you?" They cannot see. And then they cannot hear, and they cannot that they are kind of when you are dying, your sensation, the consciousness, the sensation of the touch starts to kind of not function, and then the taste also start to that you cannot taste things, you cannot hear the sounds, you cannot see the objects, and basically the five sensory objects, five sensors starts to shut down. As it shut down, what it perceives, the five, and also automatically what you see, what you hear, all of these things, start to kind of, the shut down. And that time, may we recognize that now the process of dissolution has started. After that, it is said that when the earth, water, and fire, wind dissolve into the consciousness, it is said that we human beings, it is taught that we human beings, our physical body are comprised of the elements, the four elements. And when we talk of elements, in one way you can also say, I guess you can say that, the food that we eat and all of these also came from element, and when they enter into our body also, for example, element does not necessarily mean that, doesn't mean that, for example, if you say earth, you might say, oh, where is earth in my body, If I have some earth, I don't mind, I want to make some, next time you want to make flour, you might want to put some body, earth, look for earth. Or water, where is the water? Or fire, where is the fire, right? But then when we think like that, we are talking about, again, we are going to the form of the, elements. Elements are a function, right? For example, nowadays we have this, for example, this lamb offering, right? This looks like a flower, fire, but this is actually not a fire. It's not a fire element. It doesn't serve any function of the fire. Fire is supposed to give warmth, and it has the ability to give warmth. And when the warmth is strong, it burns, right? It doesn't. You can have on the screensaver, computer screensaver, mobile screensaver, oceans and waterfall, but you cannot drink that, right? It looks like a water, but it is not, right? And the orange juice doesn't look like a water. It looks like an orange juice, but actually it's a water. It can quench your thirst. So similarly, when we say our bodies are made of element, for example, our physical body, supports our entire body. So it is solid. It supports supports our body. So that is why the physical body is known as the earth element. And in our body, if we do not have a warmth, we will die. Our body always maintains constant temperature, right? And that is the fire element. And within our body, we have the blood, we have the saliva, even our eyes. Sometimes you need eye drop if it's too dry, right? Because of the water element, right? And the fact that we are breathing the air, right? If we jump into the ocean, we'll die because there's no, the air. So the fact that we are breathing, it is said that we breathe about 21,000 times, if I remember correctly. Breathe in and out and breathe in and out, right? Basically, when we die, there is no kind of music or etc. You breathe out and cannot breathe in. That's finished. So when the time for, the death comes, all of these elements begin to fail or begin to dissolve into one another. And when it is said that when the earth elements, first it talks earth element dissolves into the water. And that is the time you lose the physical strength. Usually you may be a very strong person, but the time for death comes, you cannot even lift yourself up. You lift yourself up. You become very weak. Your cheeks become hollow. You have this kind of hole underneath your eyes. And you can kind of, even when people say, they say, oh, he looks like a very deathly looking, and I think he's not going to last very long. So that is the time it is said that the physical strength, that you have no ability to even move yourself. Your body starts to feel very, very heavy. Very sense of, if you are the person, we are the person who is dying, it is said that the body feels very heavy and very difficult to move, and we don't feel any strength. So that is a sign that the earth element is dissolving into the water element. And then when the water element dissolves into the fire element, it is said that is the time that we feel great thirst. And when we want to ask people to give us, we always say, please give me water. And no matter how much water you drink, you do not feel kind of, satiated. And when you try to speak also, all the saliva in the body kind of dries up. It's very hard, all the saliva dries up. It's very hard for you to speak. So when usually people are dying, I believe they usually cannot speak, but they croak. They can speak very weakly and very difficulty because all the salivas have dried up. Then after that the water dissolve into the fire element. And when the fire element dissolves into the wind, that is the time our body starts to lose heat, lose warmth. And when the fire element or the warmth leaves, some masters say that there are two ways of living. Sometimes the warmth leaves from the feet, starts to get cold, and then slowly moves up, the cold, and then the warmth leaves with a little bit of, the kind of the steam, you can call it. You can call it a steam, from your head. And some people, the heat leaves from the head, and then, slowly, from the feet, it starts to become free from the feet, the heat leaves. And it is said that this is an indication that when the heat leaves from the crown, your head, it is an indication that that person has accumulated good karma, and that person is going to be born into the three upper lower realms: human realm, demigod realm, God realm. And when the heat leaves from the lower realm, lower body, then it means they are going to born into the three lower realms.